Hi, my name's Stephen DiSchiavi, and I've been with the company for over 17 years now. My current role is maintenance choreographer here at the Disneyland Resort. We as maintenance choreographers here at the resort maintain show quality and integrity of all our shows, parades, and atmosphere talents. So we work with our parade performers, we work with AGVA performers, we work with musicians, we work with actors and actresses, and as well as musicians. We're just into our first year anniversary of the new show opening. So obviously with a brand new show like Fantasmic, it's a beast and requires a lot of rehearsal. So unlike some of our parades and other shows, Fantasmic has a very specific rehearsal process that takes about 3 months, and that's because of all the intricacies of the show. So being a maintenance choreographer on the show, we have to make sure that we meticulously go through each element of the show, whether it be on the stage or on the water. I was brought onto the creative side of the show, the planning, about 3 months before we got into rehearsals, which is a good amount of time. Our creative director, our show director, they were long into the planning process, and you don't really need the choreographer until you're getting really close to rehearsal, auditions, and sorts of that nature. So I was brought in about 3 months ahead of time, and I got to sit there, I got to see the storyboard, I got to see where our creative director, Steve Davison's mind was going with the reboot of the show. So being a performer, I actually originally started on the show in '98. I actually got the phone call a week after my 18th birthday, and they said, hey, would you like to join Fantasmic? And I was like, yeah, totally. So I was a performer back in '98, and I was on the show for about 10 years as a performer. So I had a really good understanding of the show. I was what you call a standby, a person that would come in with no specific role in the show to do until I came in, and then the choreographer at the time would say, Stephen, I need you to do this role tonight. And I say, got it. So I was well versed in a lot of the elements of the show. So then I guess graduating to my current role as a maintenance choreographer and then becoming the choreographer on the show, I had a really good background and history on the show, which made it very easy for me to kind of sit there and see where Steve's mind was going and then get a part of what that was, and then our show director, Carla Carlisle, as well, get in her mind and then know exactly where I needed to take the show. One of the hardest things about this show ran for 25, 26 years. It's a staple here. People love this show. That's a lot of pressure for somebody to come in and change it. And I know Stephen felt the same way as the creative director. But we didn't want to change the show. We just wanted to update the show. We wanted to give it a new facelift. For any fan that watches the show, if they remember choreography from the old show, I tried to take little tidbits from the old show and massage it back into this new show because I wanted the old show to still live within this new show. So the soul and the character of the show is still here, but I wanted to give it a little bit of that sparkle and that youthfulness that Stephen wanted and Carla wanted, but also tie in those old things that made Fantasmic great. With anything, whenever you update something, there's always going to be that skepticism. You just hope that the stuff you put out there, they're going to appreciate in the end. Of course, a lot of people love Snow White and the Snow Prince, and they saw Rapunzel and Flynn out there instead, and they went, oh my God, I love Tangled. The funny thing about the pirate scene, it actually is one of the funnest parts in the show. And when I teach it, I tell the cast members that. I said, you know what? This is going to be the funnest part of the show for you. You're a skeleton. You have a mask on. You're running around from here to there, chasing this girl in a pink dress. Jack Sparrow's above you doing Jack Sparrow things, and you're just like, what's going on? But I made it very, I want to call it Three Stooges-esque, where it's a little bit funny that these skeletons are not so bright sometimes. I said, I want you to look when she says, hey boys, look, run, huh? Wait, where'd she go? Ah! And then run this way. It should be fun. You guys should be having fun doing the show. I want you to be excited to come to work.
This is the day you will always remember as the day you almost caught Captain.
What we like to do in our training process, we take them baby steps, step by step. So like I talked about the elements before, we have our water elements, we have our stage elements. So everything has an intricate part. So we start from the ground up, and depending on what they are, we take them through their trainings. They must know their role. They must know who they are, how to act, how to animate, and we make sure they understand that. Then I will go into the teaching aspect of it. I'll go from count 1 to count 8, and we will repeat. We will do countless rehearsals over and over. I like to say that day one is our learning day. I don't expect to see animation. I don't expect you to show me your character. But I expect you to go home, I expect you to practice, and when you come back that second time, we're gonna review, and then I wanna start seeing things come to life. By that third rehearsal, we're usually outside. We get about 2 rehearsals inside, we get them comfortable, and then we bring them outside. And then we say, okay, we don't wanna take a step back, we wanna take a step forward. Don't let any of this scare you, okay? It's the same thing you just did in front of a mirror, but we're just outside. So then we take them through that step, baby steps. For our monkeys, for example, we take them out and we actually block our monkeys on the barges stationary before we move the barge. So step-by-step process, talking about monkeys is a great example. We'll take a day one, we'll learn the routine. We'll come back to day 2, we'll review, we'll start to add costume pieces. Day 3, we usually are gonna come outside, we're gonna continue to block on a stationary barge out of costume. If they're good, and I think they're okay, we'll move to the next step, which is then adding costume pieces. They'll review the routine again with me, with music, in costume. At that point, if I believe they're ready to move on, our next rehearsal will involve moving. I'll come out here to the front, and then we'll start doing monkey passes, and we'll take our notes to the front, from the front, and we'll say, hey, how was it? You were moving that time. Did you feel it? Oh, I felt it, Stephen. Oh, I felt it. Sometimes they're like, I was so busy thinking about the choreography, I didn't even know we were moving. So it's a really interesting feeling for our brand new cast members because this is a different element. It's not a parade where you're on land. You're actually on moving barges on the water. You're running around through dirt, going up and down stairs everywhere in the dark. It's crazy. So it is, I don't want to say life-changing, but it is a different element and it's different than anything else that people are going to do or experience. So we make sure we take really good care of our new performers and we take them step by step by step. By the end of their rehearsal process, they're experts. I've heard our stage manager say, I believe it's about 152 people is what it takes for a daily operation of the show to function. And that's just on the island. We're not even counting all of our operations teams and attractions that are doing all the work out here as well. On a typical day, I come in before the cast, I prep our roll, making sure that all our performers are here and accounted for. Our cast comes in, they check in, we do a general announcements, we talk about the night, we all come together, expectations for the night, we all do a group warm-up, and then after that we all disperse, we come out to the island, and then everybody starts to get ready on the island. So everybody's usually on the island about an hour beforehand, getting ready. During that time I usually make my rounds, I like to catch up with people, because we have different people in each night, so I like to catch up with like, hey, I haven't seen you for a while, how are things? And see how the cast is, and also I like to make sure that cast morale is doing well and everybody's doing a good job, so you know, checking on that. So before that we get to about half hour, people start doing their backstage checks, costume checks, making sure everything's prepared for the show. By that time I'm usually making my rounds to come out here, what we call Tower B, and then I prepare with the stage manager for the show. Stage manager is doing their last minute checks, making sure everything's up to date. I'm checking my roster, getting ready to make sure that the show's going to be up to its par, make sure that show quality and integrity is there and they're doing what we want them to do, and I prepare for my note session. Then we come, the show starts, I take my notes as I see. After the first show, then I will head to the island. I will meet with the cast that I need to see for any kind of notes, check in with people if there was anything that I saw that was a little out of sorts, and then I usually will stay on the island for the second show. I like to get a different perspective as I watch the show. After that second show, I usually check in with our specialty performers who are our stunt performers on the Columbia, making sure that everything was hunky-dory with them that night. By the end of the night, if I have any other notes, I'll see some of the cast after that second show. We check in again. Beautiful, thank you, I'll see you tomorrow. As a maintenance choreographer, I am a teacher. I'm an educator. I help teach dance. I help teach performing. And one of the best things I get out of my job is seeing my cast members succeed. And when I watch a performer out there and they do it, I'm so proud of them. I'm like proud papa. And when I can go, I say, I have a note for you. What did I do wrong? No, it's what you did right. And I'm so proud of you. And I love those moments that I get to have with my cast. And in the end, I did become a teacher. I did become an educator. But everything I've done, I've learned. I've had 2 educations. I've had my education, schooling, and then I had my Disney education. And I've all brought this, and it's all culminated to this moment in time now as a choreographer for a show like Fantasmic. And I can only hope and dream that I get to do more with this company. So for anybody that wants to follow in my footsteps, I say take your time, know exactly what it is that you want to do. Is this something you're going to be happy doing? It's not an easy thing, it's not going to happen overnight. But if you set a goal and you put your mind to something, you can achieve it. And I always say that. So for someone that is wanting to achieve to be a choreographer, continue to work on your craft, continue to work on your art, be a teammate. Don't be your own entity, don't be a solo artist, be a teammate. Work, because there are beautiful dancers out there that want to work with you. And if you can work with them and you can work with a team, they're going to want to work with you too. My favorite thing about working at Disney is storytelling. That truly is one of the reasons why I love working here, is the storytelling element of Disney and what we can bring to our guests and what they can feel and what they can see. And all those movies that you have out there, everybody, it emotionally touches you in some way, shape, or form. And I love that. And I love that I can sometimes take what's in a movie and put it in a show like Fantasmic, and you can see Belle and Beast on a barge, and a person can go, that's my favorite movie and that's my favorite character, and I just saw that, and oh my God. And that's what I love.